Hey everybody, welcome back. I just wanted to do a video. The top 10 quarterbacks of the 2022 NFL season has been voted on by coaches, NFL executives, scouts, and the top 10 list of quarterbacks is out, which means controversy and a lot to talk about. um, My list probably would have looked a little bit different. I would not have had Deshaun Watson on this list. He's at number 9. He hasn't played all year last year. Probably won't play this year. And the year before that, he was 4-12 with the Texans. His numbers were good still, but the team struggled. So probably wouldn't have him on there. I'd probably have like Lamar Jackson and maybe Derek Carr even. I heard a lot about Dak Prescott being 10, but I'll get to that after we go through. Number 1. Sorry. Number 1, Aaron Rodgers. That's not really a surprise to me. Back-to-back MVP, 4-time MVP in his career. You know, his struggles in the playoffs don't really probably aren't really what the execs looked at when they voted on this. Patrick Mahomes didn't make the Super Bowl either, even though he had a great game against the Bills, his back-to-back with Josh Allen in that fourth quarter, but he didn't make it either, so Josh Allen didn't make it either. Tom Brady didn't make it either. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. They all didn't make the Super Bowl. It was Joe Burrow at 5 and Matthew Stafford at 6 on this list that made the Super Bowl. So people who are arguing, like Skip Bayless, that are arguing that Rodgers shouldn't be number 1, Brady should be ahead of Rodgers, all this stuff. Well, none of them made the Super Bowl anyway, besides the 2 I mentioned. So that's not really an argument for this. Obviously, Rodgers is getting older, but he's still the best thrower of the football that I've ever seen. Patrick Mahomes is probably second, but he has to do it for a few more years now. Josh Allen, I believe in. I like Josh Allen. I like what he brings to the game. I still have to see more. That game against the Chiefs, he steps up to the competition level. I love that about him, but I just have to see it on a more consistent basis. I like him, being in the top 5. I just really like Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow. I'd actually probably put Herbert ahead of Burrow, even though Herbert's accolades aren't as strong as Burrow's. I think that he's going to have an MVP caliber season. I think Herbert and the Chargers are going to be a team to watch out for. That's just my opinion. They sharpened up the defense with Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson. They already had Bosa and James. I just think that the defense is going to be good, and the offense with Herbert is going to take another leap. He's got great receivers on the outside with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And Austin Eckler out of the backfield. I just think that they're going to be really good. So I don't know how I'd have to think about this more, how I'd set it up, how I'd lay out each player, but I just want to go through and just talk about what they have. So one's Rodgers. Obviously, like I said, you can't argue with 2 back-to-back MVPs. Then Mahomes, he's the $500 million man. He's the next up and coming. He's basically Rodgers before Rodgers. He's Can't argue with him being second. You could probably argue for him being first, but with Rodgers being back-to-back MVP, it's hard to put anybody ahead of him. I do like Mahomes. I think losing Tyreek Hill is going to be a tough blow this year. I heard that Marquez Valdez-Scantling, MVS, has been the best receiver in their camp so far. He struggled for the Packers with drops. He did lead the league, I think, with yards per reception, which is pretty cool. or at least was in the top like 5. But he just has to catch it, just has to catch it. So we'll see how that goes. Patrick Mahomes will, throw it to Kelsey, Kelsey, and he'll still get it to guys. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. He's just like Rodgers, where they're going to throw it to whoever's on the team, whoever they have to throw to. So that Mahomes will be great this year. Mahomes, Rodgers, Allen, Burrow, Stafford, Brady, all these guys, Herbert, all going to be in the MVP conversation, most likely. Number 3, they have Josh Allen, which, like I said, I do like Allen. I just think he's got to do it more consistently, which is fine. But, playing in the division with the Patriots, they've kind of just been second for a while. Now they're taking over that division, and now it's their time to really make a run here. I just think that AFC West is going to be a tough division to beat. So we'll see how Josh Allen, what kind of leap he takes this season. But something to watch for there. Obviously, Tom Brady, the GOAT. I used to always bet against Tom Brady because I figured, okay, this time he's got to lose. This time he's got to lose. But it never happened. It never worked out like that. Brady's the best. I won't bet against Brady anymore. I haven't for probably 5 or 6 years, and I am a Packers fan, so it pained me to, just be a realist about the fact that Brady will probably come into Lambeau and beat us last year, and he did. So even though we picked him off, Jair picked him off twice in the fourth quarter, I think, or the second half at least. So anyway, I don't even want to get upset about about that game or the Seattle game in 2014, the onside kick, but that's something to talk about at a different day. Anyway, so 4, you can't really argue with wherever they put Brady. You could probably say they should have put him higher. I think Pro Football Focus had him rated as the top quarterback last year, even though Rodgers won the MVP. Brady's, wherever you put him, he can be argued to be higher. Even at number 1, it's like, well, he should probably be in his own category. It's not really fair, but, it's Brady. So I think he's going to be turning 45 on August 3rd, which is crazy to think about, that he even said that he wanted to play till 45 even before he hit 40. And I think everybody thought, there's no way this guy's playing till 45. It looks like he's going to be starting. He came back out of his 40 days of retirement, and now, it's Buccaneers. It's Super Bowl or bust for the Buccaneers, and they've got Mike Evans back down there, Godwin. Gronk just came out and said he's not coming back no matter what. If Brady even says, please come back and save us, Gronk said no. So that just came out, actually. So that's, I don't know. I think Gronk just wants to skip practice, skip training camp, and if they needed him when games started coming, maybe he'd be like, all right, I'll go out and catch some passes. So we'll see how that plays out. At number 5, they have Joe Burrow, Super Bowl losing quarterback of last year, Joe Burrow. He's number 5. I like Burrow. I like what he brings to the table all around. I like his toughness. I like his swagger. I like his grit. I like his receivers. He's got, Chase, which Chase is probably one of the top 5 receivers in the league already. Maybe, top 10 for sure. Got T. Higgins. Got Boyd. He's got weapons. And then, his tight end I like. With Mixon coming out of the backfield, I really think Burrow can take another step this year. That game against the Titans where they had him sacked 9 times and he still won, that's crazy. I mean, that just shows that he doesn't give up. He's got that gunslinger, like Brett Favre mentality, which I really like. So Joe Burrow is number 5, ahead of the Super Bowl winning quarterback, Matt Stafford, at number 6. And I've always liked Stafford. Even as a Lion, I liked him. He just, he's got that never give up kind of gunslinger like Favre did too. So I like that about Stafford. I think he's, he's underrated now that he won a Super Bowl. He's a little bit more highly rated, but he had 5,000 yards passing with the Lions. Dude's good. Now that he won a Super Bowl, I'm glad that he's getting the praise that he deserves finally. So having him at 6 behind Burrow, he could maybe go ahead of Burrow. I don't really know. I mean, he won the Super Bowl against Burrow, so we'll see. Stafford's got Cooper Kupp, who's coming off the Triple Crown. I like Cooper Kupp a lot. I still think there's better receivers than him, but their connection might be the best in the league, and you can't argue with that. So, um, and Stafford, he's got his other guys to throw to this year. They just got Allen Robinson from the Bears, who the Bears somehow couldn't pay, so now he went to the Rams, and he's gonna get the ball around. He's got Van Jefferson down there, who's gonna make another step this year. So Rams will be a team to watch out for. I really think him and Burrow could be alternated, and still think maybe Justin Herbert should jump them both. Watch this video in a year and tell me where you think Justin Herbert should be. I really think he's gonna make a crazy leap this year. I know they didn't make the playoffs last year, and their coach kind of goes crazy with going for it on 4th and 18 or whatever, but I still think with the defensive changes and Justin Herbert's second year jump, got Allen, and like I said with Williams, I really think Herbert's going to be great this year. I think he's going to be in the MVP conversation, 40 plus touchdowns, 4,500 yards or something like that. Herbert should be higher on the list. I guess I don't know where I'd put him exactly. Like I said, I'd have to think harder about the list overall before I decide where I'd put him. But I still think Herbert would be ahead of Burrow, probably ahead of Stafford. Even though, as of right now, I guess people are like, we're still waiting to see what Herbert can do. Can't put him there just based on talent. I'm doing it based on projection. It's my projection for this year, who I think is going to be best this year. So it'll be interesting because, Rodgers has all these new receivers, and he's rated number 1. I don't know what they took into account, if it was just what he's done so far, they think he's going to do, because my list of quarterbacks of, top 10 MVP vote probably be a little bit different than this. But I still like Rodgers as number 1. I like to make arguments for both sides, either way. So Herbert at 7, I guess that's fine until we see what he does. But that's my issue. If it's based on we'll see what he does, Russell Wilson's at 8. Russell Wilson had 12 wins with the Seattle Seahawks like every single year, always in the playoffs, always kind of in the game. Go back to that 2014 playoff game. The onside kick against Packers Seattle, like Russ never gave up, and he made the throws when he needed to at the end, even though he had a horrible game that game. I think we had 4 interceptions, and he still was able to win. So if it's based off of what they have done, Wilson should be ahead of Herbert. That's why I don't understand this list, because if it's based on what they might do, then yeah, Herbert's probably ahead. But then I'd put him ahead of Stafford and Burrow too. So we'll see. We'll see who's right at the end of the season. I think we'll know sooner than later. But I do like Russell Wilson going to the Broncos. I really think that's a big pickup for them. They've been one quarterback away, for a while since Peyton left, and before Peyton, they were that close then too. And then they got Peyton and they won, and then they lost Peyton, and now they've been through a bunch of different quarterbacks. From like Paxton Lynch. You guys know Drew Lock struggle, but he's at Seattle now, so it's gonna be, interesting to see how Wilson develops with these receivers. Russ is gonna be on his game. Let Russ cook. He's gonna be ready to go. But those receivers they have, Tim Patrick, who I like, underrated, big guy. Jerry Jeudy, super fast. Coming into his second year here. And then Cortland Sutton, who I think, he's a big body, just talented guy. I think with Russ and those 3 guys, it's going to be an offense to be messed with for sure. I know they have a pretty good tight end. Noah Fant went to Seattle in that trade for Russ, so they don't have Noah Fant, which would be huge for Russ. But they do have another athletic tight end, so I think they'll be okay in that area. They got the running backs, with Williams and Melvin Gordon, who he's the Badger, so I'm always a Melvin Gordon fan. I think Melvin's going to take a back seat to Williams, though. I really think that he's going to have a big season. So it'll be cool to see how the Broncos offense translates with the new quarterback. They've got the Packers offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, as their head coach. And I really just think that whole offense is gonna be tough. And in that division with the Chiefs, you got in the top 10 quarterbacks on this list: Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos. AFC West have the 2nd, the 7th, and the 8th best quarterbacks in the whole league, voted on in the whole league. I know Derek Carr didn't make the list, but he might be in my top 10 over Watson or Prescott if I did this, especially with the weapons he has this year. So to see that many quarterbacks out of one division in the top 10 is pretty crazy. I mean, I don't know who I'd pick to come out of there. I think I'm leaning towards Chargers coming out of that West, and I think whoever comes out of that West is going to be a Super Bowl contender for sure. Obviously they will be, but I really think they're going to be the favorites. I do like, the Colts. I think they'll be tough. Obviously the Bills, I think they'll be tough. I just don't think whoever comes out of that AFC West is going to be probably the best team in the AFC. They're going to be really hard to beat because winning that division is just going to be tough in general. Unless they all beat up on each other and no one really comes ahead and they're all kind of just equal. And one of the, the Bills or the Colts, because of the easiness of their division, they're able to get some wins ahead of them. That'll be interesting to see because they really could just all kind of alternate wins, and then they don't all have as much success as they should. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out in the AFC West. And that's number 8, Russell Wilson. Number 9, Deshaun Watson, which I just don't understand. How can you even have him on the list? He didn't play all last year. Like I said before, he was 4-12 the year before that with the Houston Texans. And he might not play all this year. He might not play half the year or all the year. But still, it's odd that even with everything going on with his allegations and his, settling out of court and stuff, and that he's even on the list. But the fact that he's number 9 ahead of a lot of guys like Lamar Jackson and even Dak Prescott, Derek Carr, there's a lot of good Kyler Murray. There's a lot of good quarterbacks that I would probably put on here ahead of Deshaun. Even Kirk Cousins played more and has had some success. I'm not Vikings fan at all, but over putting Watson on the list is what I'm saying. Just until we know more about what's happening with Watson, just kind of leave him off these lists. But they have him at number 9, so I'll talk about him a little bit. He's top 5 talent at quarterback in the league. Before he had all of these allegations come out, he was probably top 3 behind Rodgers and Mahomes, and it was him, out of athleticism and throwing ability and just raw talent at the quarterback position. Brady's always kind of won because he's not as athletic. They don't look at him like that, but he's just the GOAT. So Watson's got the talent. Obviously, who knows how he'll translate back into football after being off for so long now. It'll be interesting to see how much rust he has on him and how long it takes to get the rust off, literally. So we'll see how that works out. The Browns have a top 3 O-line, top 3 running back tandem. They just got Amari Cooper. They got Njoku. Solid defense with Myles Garrett, and Denzel Ward. So Browns will be tough. I still think that, if Watson comes back, they'll be in the Super Bowl conversation, playoff conversation for sure. But until that's all sorted out, even if it gets kind of halfway sorted out, and he does come back halfway through the year, I don't know if there's enough there for the Browns, and I think it's too much of a distraction right now for the Browns to really make a big run at it this year. But we'll see how that plays out. You know, it's been interesting to watch the whole time, and we're just hope it gets resolved. Number 10, Dak Prescott, and the Dallas Cowboys quarterback breaks the top 10, which, you know, when Dak came out as a rookie, I really thought, okay, this guy is something. They went 13-3. Zeke was running crazy. You know, they had weapons. That offensive line was probably one of the best in history, literally. And Dak played really well. You know, he met the Packers and Mason Crosby in the playoffs, but still he looked like he was on a projection that was gonna, you know, send him into the top 10 of quarterbacks in the league, but he just hasn't got there, and he's kind of regressed, and he got injured. And I like Dak. They lost Cooper though, that's tough. They lost Cedric Wilson, that's tough. Their offensive line, they kind of drafted weird. They drafted a guy way too high, a few guys way too high. Possible starters, but still drafted them way too high in the spot where they could have got them later on. Like the Tyler Smith, and then, you know, Tyron Smith's kind of coming off some injuries, and Zeke's not the same as he used to be. CeeDee Lamb's inconsistent and had a lot of drops the last 2 years. That defense is just tough sometimes. We don't know what we're gonna get. I do like Micah Parsons. He is one of the best linebackers in the league already. Trayvon Diggs I like as well. So Cowboys do have some pieces. I just don't think it's enough for Dak to have a great year this year. Not a top 10 this year season as a quarterback this year. Not enough weapons on offense. I don't even really know who else they're going to be throwing it to. I know they drafted a wide receiver, but otherwise, I don't know what they're going to do. Actually, I don't know if they did. So I'll have to see who Dak's thrown it to. But without Amari, you know, they've got their tight ends, you know, so that's something. But they missed out on the Von Miller sweepstakes. They offered like $50 million less than the Bills. So we'll see. I still think guys like Lamar Jackson, who has the MVP already, who's, you know, the most electric quarterback on his feet in the game today, and somebody who wins 3 out of 4 of the games they play. So how you keep him off, I don't understand. I know he's kind of had a down year here and there on the last few years, but still. And then Derek Carr, with the amount of weapons he has this year, and how his numbers just skyrocketed last year, just having a few more weapons. With all the controversy surrounding the Raiders with different players and their coach, I really think that Carr held it all together and was able to win games, and you can't look past that, because that's big. So I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. We'll see if the coaches and executives are right. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Q_knowsball, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.